This is Reefer. In this video, I'm going to talk about setting up a tank for beginners. So if you decide to start a saltwater tank, but this is your first time, you've never really done it before, this might be the video for you to watch and hopefully it'll be helpful for you. So a lot of people mistaken that saltwater tank, setting up saltwater will be very expensive. There's a lot of equipment you're going to need to get. That is true, and somewhat also not true. You can also use the very inexpensive equipment to set up a very beautiful tank, which I'm going to walk through the entire steps of what kind of equipment you need, and then all the way up to setting up the tank with saltwater fish and corals in there. So a couple of things you need to get. First thing is the tank. The tank itself is going to be the main thing that you're going to need. So a tank, this is a 20-gallon tank. You can get pretty cheap tanks out there at local pet shops, or even sometimes even some chain pet stores. You can find pretty cheap tanks. This one is a 20-gallon tank. I got it at Petco, and this was during a sale where it was $1 a gallon. So this tank was pretty much $20. So once you have the tank, what I did in the back right here is black. It doesn't come in black. So what I did was I went to Home Depot and got some acrylic paint and painted the back black. Now the purpose of me painting it black is just so I wanted the corals and the fish to put a stand out when I had the live rocks and the fish inside. So once you have your tank, and you can decide if you wanted to paint your tank or not, now a couple of equipment you're going to need. The first thing is a power filter. Okay. Now this power filter, they sell it anywhere. You can get it online or so. You get the size according to what your aquarium size is. Generally, I would say use a power filter if it is under 30 gallons or so. And easily you purchase one, and then all you have to do is just dip it inside here, and that's pretty much it. All that power filter right there. Now another equipment that you're going to need is a protein skimmer, a mini protein skimmer. So a protein skimmer is pretty much an equipment that takes out all the poop, the cracks that the fish creates, or any leftover food. So this one will be especially helpful. There are smaller ones. This is a nano skimmer. You don't really need those extra large size out there for much larger gallon tanks. This small one would suffice to the tank. And of course, you will need to purchase a air pump that normally comes with one. Okay. And then another equipment you're going to need, which is pretty important, is this thermometer right here, this digital thermometer. This digital thermometer is to measure the temperature of the water. Now, salt water, livestock is a little bit sensitive with the temperature of the water, so this digital would help you make sure that the water temperature maintains a certain amount. Okay, so this is very easy. So you pretty much, there's a rod right here that reads the temperature. You stick it into the tank somewhere you want, or you want to hide it, and then you can put this digital reader somewhere along, either in the back or in the front, however you would like it. And then other important equipment that you're going to need is a heater. Okay, so depending on what your home temperature is, if it's not maintained at a certain degrees that the saltwater tank needs, then you will definitely need a heater, especially during the winter. Okay. So after the heater, now another thing you need is a power head. So what this power head does is pretty much make sure water moves. Okay, create water movement, because you don't want stale water inside your saltwater tank, and you got to make sure that there's enough water flow to create air oxygen inside the tank. Okay. Or another option is you can purchase a wave maker. Now this is a much larger wave maker right here. Same thing, it pushes the water around. Okay. Now this one is a pretty large one. You can purchase much smaller ones. They have nano ones that you can create, and then you can just hook it onto the side. Then there's a magnet that sticks it onto it, and that's pretty much it right there. Okay. The next one you should look into is getting a light. Okay. Now this is a LED light that contains blue and white light. It's mainly to pull the coloration out of the salt water and also help the corals to grow. Okay, so have one like so, any LED lights that you have, and then light strip or LED light like this, and then plug it in here, and that's it. So very simple. Okay, now If you want to get it automated, where you have to control turning on and turning off the light, you can certainly go to like CVS or Walgreens and get a little digital timer right here. You see a little timer pretty cheap right here. So you can set a timer when you want to come on and when you want the lights to go off. Then pretty much automate it from there. Absolutely, you don't want the lights to be on all 24/7 because she needs to sleep, and then also you don't want to outburn your corals with the amount of intensity light. Now this next thing is optional. Okay. Now what I have here is a chiller. Okay. Now what this chiller means is that you see this rod right here. So when I plug it in, there's a fan back here. So it would help me cool down the water through this rod. Okay. So simply what I do is I place it. Of course, you leave this section right here on top of water. Okay. Don't let any of this part right here touch the water. So you have some sort of thing hanging on the top, and then you put up there, and then when you plug this in, this rod right here will be very cold, okay? And then when the water runs by it, it's trying to cool down your water. So this is especially helpful during the summer, especially if you don't have centralized AC. Okay, this one will definitely maintain the temperature, maintain your coral your tank temperature. Okay. Now another one I would recommend that you get. Now this is not equipment; it's part of package. Is some chemi-pure bag. Okay, so some chemi-pure bag, what this will do is it pretty much help filters your water. Okay, so where you will put these chemi-pure bags, so you can either get it one at a time or you can go to a local store and get a whole bulk of it. Okay, now you take these chemi-pure bags, of course you go rinse it in water just to make sure you get all the dirt and dust out. Now rinse it in RLDI water, not regular tank water outside, just so you avoid from creating phosphate. And then I would take this chemi-pure bag and I would put it into this filter in here. Okay, into this power filter like so. And then I just plug it in back, and then from there I just plug everything in. Okay, so now that I got all my equipment ready, the next thing you want to do is start adding your salt water into the tank. Now, to add salt water to the tank, you have the option of either putting in the sand first, if you want to have a sand bed, or if you want to go bare bottom like what I am going to do, just leave it with no sand. Now, if you're going to go with a sand bed, you have the option of either adding the sand first or adding the sand after you add the water. Both are optional, depending on how you want it. Okay. Now, to add the water in here, I'm going to make it a little bit easy, so to avoid carrying all the water and then pouring it into bit by bit into the tank, I'm going to use a power head and some clear hose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my power head, I'm going to plug the hose into the power head like so. I'm going to take where I'm going to have the power head into the water. Okay, that is submerged inside the water. And then I'm going to take the other end, I'm going to put it inside the tank. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is plug in the hose, and you can see what's going to happen. Okay, as you see, water are now being added into the tank. So right now I have 20 gallons of water in here. It's going to add all 20 gallons into here. Now fill up into, I would say, around this area or so. Don't put any higher to overflow. And also you got to be careful where your return is on your power head. You don't want it to. You want to make sure that the power head is able to pour some water down, which I will give you some close-ups in a bit. Okay, so yep. Once you have water all added, so this is pretty much how much water I'm adding. Now you have to make sure on your on this power filter there is a minimum water requirement. Okay, the minimum water requirement is pretty much up to this point right here. Okay, so if the water does not reach up to this point, the motor in this power filter will not work. You would know that there's not enough water if you try to plug it in and it starts making noise but no water being sucked in from here. Okay? So once it's done, now we're going to start plugging everything in. Okay, so this is pretty much the setup of the tank. All you need to do now after getting everything ready is if you have sand in there, live sand in there, then you already have your live sand. Right now I only have one live rock in there. If you have any other rocks you want to put inside, feel free to do so. And now I would let this tank cycle for about a few weeks or so. Of course, there are other solutions you can add in there that speed up the process to build up all the good bacteria that you can find in your local fish store. Okay, so now the power filter is rolling, it's pretty much doing its job. And then the skimmer right here is pretty much collecting any of the extra dirt that you have in your tank or so, like you see in mine. And then the power head over there, as you can see, is pushing all the stuff around, making sure there's enough flow everywhere. So, and then of course, like I said, this is the pretty much minimum requirements that you have. Once everything is ready, after a couple of weeks later, you can feel free to add your corals and your fish. And again, at the beginning, you probably want to add some easier fish, maybe some clownfish or some damsels, introduce them into the tank, just testing out the water. And then for coral-wise, I would start with much easier corals, much hardier ones like zoas or mushrooms. Just feel how the tank is doing, making sure all the temperature, everything is, all the chemistry is right before you start including any more expensive fish or expensive corals. Okay, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos.